Greetings, fellow people not as awesome as Mike. Tiki here. I said Tiki here. Oh dear. Are we already having connection problems? God damn it. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, I don't know what happened there.
Sorry, folks. I'm back.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and try it. Yeah. Because it probably got in the way of things. All right, BlueDragonFive, how you doing? Better Call Saul coming out in about 3 or 4 days now. It's pretty close.
Very excited.
So I did not actually get the chance to rewatch the whole season. What I did rewatch was the penultimate episode, which was the Big Chuck betrayal, which I do think is like the kind of high point of the entire series. And then I also kind of just watched the montages that you suggested, like, oh, the best of Jimmy McGill, you know, the best of Mike. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm not the most caught up, but I feel like I can, you know, I can kind of dive into this.
Yeah, I've rewatched the 10 episodes a number of times. I think I'm pretty good on that front.
You have more time than me, I guess, because I'm struggling through college right now. So, anyways. So I guess we'll start with our overall thoughts on season 1.
Sure. So, initially I think what we were all thinking when the show was announced and just kind of going into the first season, we thought it was going to be kind of like a fun it's like the bonus material on the Breaking Bad DVDs when they had Saul Goodman stuff. We just thought it was going to be like a season full of that. Don't get me wrong, really well done, but kind of just the fun bonus material, kind of ha-ha comedy stuff, just setting up Saul Goodman. So basically just be a comedy show devoted to that, and it was about Saul Goodman building his business, but it turned out to be much more than that.
Yeah, I was essentially thinking it was going to be like about 20-minute episode chunks of case of the week, you know, like, oh, what wacky client will Saul Goodman take on this week? Find out next week on Better Call Saul, you know, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. But what we found out is that we still have the kind of the Breaking Bad quality and direction that told a compelling story about the man who would be Saul.
Sure. And it's kind of like the dichotomy that we're getting into, especially in interviews with Vince Gilligan and things. Vince Gilligan has said Jimmy McGill is going to become so likable in Better Call Saul Season 2 that you're just going to have a knot in your stomach, dreading when the turn comes and dreading when he eventually turns into Saul Goodman.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So, but
well,
overall,
also, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, also it was a surprise continuation at the same time. You know, that simultaneously fleshed out the world of Breaking Bad, but in 2002. You know, we got it overall. It's a clever character-based show that makes us care about, as you said, T. It makes us care about Jimmy McGill more than we thought possible. I mean, as much as we love Saul Goodman, we love Jimmy McGill even more.
Yeah, which was kind of like a crazy aspect to think about at first when the show was first going on.
I mean, there's a lot of story. It's so well told. Again, just those 10 episodes. I encourage folks to. I mean, it's really bingeable. I got to tell you, it's you get a lot of story in those 10 episodes. It's worth it's worth the watch, and it's extremely well put together. You know.
Yeah, I wish I had time for it. You know, I mean, honestly, I've been binging BoJack Horseman, and that's kind of why I haven't had time for Saul.
You mean you pick something called BoJack Horseman over Better Call Saul?
BoJack Horseman is amazing.
More amazing than Better Call Saul.
Yes, it is more amazing.
I doubt
it's a better show than Better Call Saul, BlueDragonFive.
Okay, I highly doubt
I would contest that. BoJack Horseman is actually quite good.
I don't believe you saying that. I do not.
But this is not a podcast about BoJack Horseman now, is it?
Yes.
Thank
God.
Oh, come on. No. Look, I had the same problems about BoJack Horseman that you did, but then I actually watched 2 or 3 episodes and I got totally hooked in.
All right.
All right.
Anyway, so point of season one, it's extremely well put together.
It is, I mean, you make a good point of it being bingeable. It's definitely I think the most compelling part of season one was the dynamic between Chuck and Jimmy.
Absolutely, very, very, very great. Seeing the brothers together and seeing how that ultimately is kind of a tragedy in itself.
And that, that's why I rewatched episode 9 in particular, because that was easily the most heavy-hitting episode of the season for me in terms of, the ultimate betrayal, without giving too much away.
Oh, yeah. So I guess maybe we should get into just kind of overall some of the big kind of favorite moments, the standout moments of the first season.
Okay, well, I think that's a good transitioning point because I think the Chuck betrayal was definitely my number one with a bullet, but without giving anything away, I guess probably Mike. Mike had some really awesome standout stuff throughout the season.
Well, I mean, I think we can give things away. We're talking about season 2. I don't think people are just going to jumping into season 2 without jumping into season 1.
Okay, fair enough. And the internet is very spoiler sensitive, so I don't want to step on too many toes here, but...
Right. Well, of course, the opening to the show was fantastic. Let's kind of start chronologically to an extent, if we can. Address Unknown, the opening to that was just mind-blowingly awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's, it's definitely something that we might encounter more of during season 2, perhaps.
Absolutely, but I mean, again, it's the perfect song choice, Address Unknown, because it has a lot of sadness in it. It's kind of this great, because it's so well directed, because it was always planned to be black and white. Just seeing how kind of, I pointed this out when we first talked about that moment. It's showing that Saul Goodman now under the alias of Gene. He's just living such kind of a blander existence, just kind of a black and white thing, where he used to live in this kind of this vibrant world of color and excitement and getting wrapped up in everything. Because the use of color was always important in Breaking Bad. It's the color palettes used on Walter White, Jesse Pinkman.
Walter was green, Jesse was red.
Yeah, and
all that composed against the blue meth, the sunsets and everything. Yeah, the color palette on Breaking Bad was easily one of the standout things.
Absolutely, and you have Saul Goodman, who in that show he was always kind of a mixed match of colors. He was the most vibrantly. He was kind of the peacock of the Breaking Bad universe.
If there was one color I would define Saul Goodman as, it would be probably salmon pink.
Yeah, that's it. That's salmon pink and blue or any variation like a blue or a gray. So that's
right.
He's like a man of met. He was the most colorful character on that show, so that's reflected there. Anyway, so Address Unknown is just such a deviation from that. When you think, okay, I'm watching Better Call Saul, it's kind of this black and white, really soulful thing going on. But then, of course, you have the cinema, all the pieces connect, and you realize, oh my God, our poor colorful characters stuck in this black and white existence. This man who lives such a life, but it's a safe life, but still there's some angst there that he's somewhat in any deviation into one or the other, he could be in a gray territory. So it's he's walking a precipice.
So it kind of serves both purposes of being total fan bait material, total stuff to get the fans on board. And also just in the storytelling of Better Call Saul in itself, we see the dichotomy of Gene mixed with Jimmy McGill, and we don't even get the Saul persona at this point. So anyone who's not even watched Breaking Bad can kind of just jump into it oh my God, look at this really kind of stand-up lawyer guy who's really trying to do the right thing, which is what Jimmy McGill is early in the season.
Yeah, and you know what else is just really really great about that? It's the fact that it's kind of, in some ways, it's you start in black and white because this is kind of the new beginning for this character. We end Breaking Bad, and we're into this new show, not just looking at it just in terms of Better Call Saul, but just in terms of the next stage of Breaking Bad. It's we're kind of simultaneously, in some ways, getting two shows for the price of one. Well, technically the price of none, but we're not going to get into those stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean, though. It's the point is we're kind of getting that continuation. At the same time, we're getting this fantastic kind of backstory of a prequel show.
And one of the mission statements of Vince Gilligan has always been that Better Call Saul will be the past, present, and future of Saul Goodman.
Which is so phenomenal.
Because, of course, the present would relate to the Breaking Bad timeline, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, you see, there's all that kind of coalescing together. It works. It works so well. It's the idea that in that universe, after Breaking Bad, like the most kind of again just bombastic thing, and everything happens. That then you kind of start from ground zero. You start with black and white. So even before it, with a show that's kind of based mostly on a prequel,
Sure, sure.
It's very interesting. Okay, so let's see. Maybe next we should talk about kind of the big scene of episode 2. Jimmy making the leg deal with Tuco.
Oh yes, oh yes. Honestly, this was kind of one of the things I felt was a little bit manipulative early on. Is like we have Tuco. It's like the cliffhanger of episode 1, and then they don't really do a lot with him.
Well, to be fair, Raymond Cruz, from what I heard, I've kind of gone back in the Breaking Bad series and listened to commentaries and stuff and got some details. Apparently, Raymond Cruz was kind of they wanted to keep Tuco around longer, but he had other things to do, so they had to kill him off earlier than they wanted to.
Okay, so that makes sense. It's kind of like, he's around, so if he wants to make an appearance here and there, he can, but he's not. Yeah. He's never going to be really a regular.
Because I don't know what Raymond Cruz is doing currently. I don't know if he's attached to a show or any certain, like, if it's just there was a movie thing that the reason he was kind of up in the air with. But he might be more available for this show, or he might not. I don't know.
Haley Atwell's up for another ABC show, which makes me kind of worry about Agent Carter.
You're right there. That's it.
But we'll get into that when we talk about that show.
The point is, though, Raymond Cruz, when he was back, it was a great surprise, and it was an exciting 2 episodes, though.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And of course, one of the culmination of the Raymond of our Tuco stuff was that deal with me. Because again, I think Jim McGill said it best. He's the best lawyer ever. After he strikes this amazing deal, he basically takes a death sentence and scales it down, strikes at the right deal to get it just to like a 6-month probation. which is astoundingly good. I mean, that's a good lawyer right there. Don't run Dark Circumstances, but a good lawyer, even though he did kind of get them into that predicament in the first place.
And I think the skateboarding twins early on were kind of one of my favorite standout characters, and I wish they would have done more with them in season 1.
And I get a sense they're going to be coming back as kind of the Skinny Pete and Badger.
I honestly kind of felt them as like the Jesse Pinkman to Saul Goodman this season, but I don't know. You think that it'll be?
It would seem my associate is temporarily gone, but I'm going to keep going. Let me see. What I was trying to think what he was going to say. Okay, never mind. He's back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Literally, my foot accidentally pressed the refresh key. It was dumb.
Your foot?
Yes, my foot, because I have the keyboard on the floor and I put my foot down and it pressed the F5 key.
Yeah, for a second I thought you were like Spider-Man or something. Wait, how does his foot hit the refresh key?
Oh, God. All right.
Okay, so you were saying?
I was talking about how
twins, Skinny Pete.
Right, with the twins, I kind of saw the twins more as Jesse Pinkman than Badger and Skinny Pete, but it seems like you think they're going to have a more reduced role.
Yeah, I think there's going to be used sparingly, kind of like how the 2 were in Breaking Bad towards the end. How Skinny Pete and then Badger is kind of used sparingly towards the end after Pinkman was kind of moving on to higher things.
So they're a rare treat.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a rare treat, but depending on how the story is, I think it's Jimmy McGill. I'm going to speculate real quick here because we're going to do that a little later. But I'm going to speculate that the more Saul-like he becomes in the transitional period between Jimmy McGill and Saul, right before he hits before we see our iconic Saul Goodman staff. I think these guys will be a more integral part of Jimmy McGill's operations as the early Saul Goodman.
Okay.
That's what I'm predicting. I predict they're going to be kind of the Huel and Cuba. QB. I don't want to think. That's stupid. QB. I always think of them as Bill Burr. That's the problem.
No,
QB. Thank you.
Yeah.
QB and Huel. It's always I think they're going to be kind of the prototypes for QB and Huel, so to speak. They're going to be the fill-ins until those.
That is very, very D-grade QB and Huel.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think they're just kind of like the early kind of prototypical, like they're the fill-ins.
Right, for sure. Okay.
They're the seat warmers for the giant money bed. That's what they are.
I think one of the standouts of season 1 surprisingly was the Kettlemans.
Ah, yes, the Kettlemans.
Kettlemans.
The actors, now I gotta tell you, the actors that portrayed the Kettlemans, they were so method, they were so so brilliant, brilliant performers. They actually, they would spend time together as husband and wife. They would go shopping with each other. They would hold hands. They would do that sort of. They got really method with it.
Oh dear.
And they formed their. If you notice with the Kettlemans, there are many subtle, really smart acting choices with them. Seriously, if you rewatch it, you'll notice. This is what they've said on the commentaries, not the Kettle commentary, which is hilarious, and I encourage people to.
I need to check that out at some point. I'm dying.
For those that don't know what I'm talking about, the Kettle commentary is it's an in-character commentary with the Kettlemans just watching their ultimate undoing, and
it's a good one, right? Like it's a really good in-character commentary.
I've been saying they don't break character at all during the thing. I mean, it's just the absurd idea of the Kettlemans somehow got their hands on the bingo episode of Better Call Saul, and they're having this weird. I mean, it's something Deadpool would applaud.
Gave it to them.
That's what I'm saying. Deadpool must have given it to these guys. So they're able to watch.
You guys know that you're in like a fucking spin-off show of an AMC classic, right? Like you guys know that, right?
So you gotta remember, they have no idea who any of the other characters are aside from Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler and maybe Howard Hamlin. But they have no idea. They see Mike, they said, "Oh, this evil-looking bald man."
right.
It's hilarious. A treasure trove of absurdity. But the point is that on the actual commentary, they do mention a lot of the acting choices and kind of the thought behind, like Mrs. Kettleman, and I love that they pulled this reference, by the way. Mrs. Kettleman, when she moves like Michael Keaton Batman. She doesn't turn her neck; she moves her whole body.
Yes.
And you always notice Craig Kettleman, he's always a beat or two behind Mrs. Kettleman. He's always like the slow pony to the race. He's always just kind of he's slow on the uptake, and he's always he's there and he's supportive. And he's a lovely guy, but he's just always
right.
He's the more sympathetic of the two. Betsy Kettleman's out for blood.
Yeah, Betsy Kettleman, I feels like is like a more lethal version of Marie in some ways.
Absolutely, and they actually speculate they would love to see Marie and Betsy Kettleman, but I don't know if they
can man, if Marie and Betsy Kettleman were like somehow like high school friends or something like that, and they got together, that'd be great. I
would love it if there's like.
Betsy Brand has actually talked a lot in interviews about how she wants to come back as Marie in Better Call Saul.
I would like to say it would be like kind of a PTA conference, but unfortunately, Marie Schrader does not have any children. So
no, they don't, unfortunately. Yeah, but I don't know. I do think that Betsy Kettleman would be like kind of like a good bridging point for Marie to come back into the thing, just because they're so similar. You can just see the two of them getting along.
Oh my God! I just thought of something. I know how they could do it. If they bumped into each other at the office of their therapist, like before they went in for the sessions, if they were like in the waiting room and that's how they knew each other.
Okay.
Yeah? Because you know Betsy Kettleman needs counseling. You know that.
I don't know, like Marie coming into the show and like being like this friend to Betsy Kettleman while like vaguely interacting with Saul Goodman at certain points, that could be interesting.
I mean, what you would have there is like they would both be in the same mindset of I don't need therapy. Like hers is probably quarter pointed or something, and well, they're both kind of quarter pointed. Like, oh yes, we have to see. But
of course, we'll get into some major speculation about other Breaking Bad characters soon.
Yeah, what are you in for? Embezzlement. What are you in for? Shoplifting.
I broke into a bunch of open houses and stole spoons.
Okay, anyway, so before I just want to make sure I emphasize the point again. The to-go Jimmy thing was also really impressive too, because I think we.
Oh no, that was a great scene for sure. I mean, that whole 2-episode like 2-night event, it was definitely a great kind of like kickoff start to the whole series.
I wanted to address this point particularly just with that before I forgot about it. I just want to say I rewatching that moment, which is such a great scene, the way it plays out, because it's just such a great kind of working an actual deal, just like going down to like kind of compromising. But particularly, I kind of recognize a little bit myself in this. I mean, I have such Breaking Bad body language in real life. I do. I just noticed there are two bits. It's this bit where Jimmy McGill, whenever I make a deal or something, I'm always doing the Jimmy McGill. I'm always doing McGill's hand.
Oh God.
His body language, and that way, like make all the hand gesturing. That's me.
Right.
And Walter White's in defensive mode when he's like right before he's tasered in Breaking Bad with Jesse. Remember when he's trying to approach Jesse? He's like he touches him, and Jesse's like kind of flipping at him. Just Walter White does the retracting thing. Like I'm always in defensive when I'm going like a defensive mode when I'm in a tense conversation. I'm doing that.
Okay. So, let's talk about Chuck, because I mean we kind of briefly touched on it, but Chuck was easily one of the standouts of season 1.
Oh, you know how much I love Michael McKean.
Yeah, and it's fascinating the way his character went down. From at first he was like easily the most sympathetic character on the show to now we're arguing that he could potentially be the big bad of the whole series.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, again, I think there's still there's always that kind of glimmer of hope with Chuck, but again, it's going to be kind of like they are brothers, so they're definitely at odds at the moment. But it will be interesting.
Well, it wasn't just the fact that they're at odds at the moment. It was just the sheer betrayal of the whole thing that went down.
It was a monumental betrayal. It absolutely was. And the way they played, like, you didn't suspect it at all, because how could it
it was one of those things where Jimmy just had to kind of, like, rethink his life. Like, oh, my God, like, I thought I knew this person who was so close to me so well, and I didn't know them at all, and this guy is just trying to get ahead.
Because you got to remember, when you really think about how deep-seated a betrayal it is, because,
it was quite chilling when I think back on it, BlueDragonFive, especially rewatching the whole thing.
Because remember, think about what he does. Jimmy McGill basically dedicates almost, if not every day, then at least a day, many days a week, to delivering groceries to his brother. I mean, he doesn't live there, but he lives in his office. But the point is, he visits that place a lot. He's caring for his brother, taking on the burden that is his brother. I mean, Howard Hamlin said himself, looking at the list, like, oh, man, you do all this stuff for Chuck? And it's like he does.
Do you think anyone else would have done that besides Jimmy?
Well, I mean, I think if Chuck pulled the power play, he could, but that just shows you, like, he doesn't see himself as a bad guy, though, which makes it even more complicated. He does, if he just saw himself as like, no, I am entitled to this power. People should do this for me. It's like he doesn't want to be a bother, and he knows Jimmy's going to do this for him.
And of course, Chuck, it's kind of ironic because if you remember BlueDragonFive, we were speculating all season long, like, oh my God, Chuck's going to die and that's going to be so tragic. And now it's like, it's crazy. It's just so up in the air with Chuck at this point.
I got a season plan that I think is going to maybe pull your hair back in terms of, like, it's going to kind of be a kind of a big old full rounded ball going there.
Fair enough.
You'll see. We'll get there. But yeah, again, the way he played Chuck too is like kind of this damaged person, but still has it all together seemingly. And again, he played someone with a condition like that, which is they picked the right condition for the show, because it's an actual medical condition that it's unrecognized on both sides, as they don't know if it's purely psychological or it's purely physical. Because again, the condition he has, he has physical symptoms, but they're brought on by, essentially the best way of phrasing is, he has physical symptoms, but they're brought on mentally. But they feel real to him, and they do actually hurt him.
Yeah, and it was very intense. Like, I remember, I spent a lot of time kind of comparing my own sort of struggles with anxiety and all that, and it was pretty harsh. I mean, it was very realistic the way they depicted it.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if we're actually going to see like the origin of his condition.
That'd definitely be something to be a good cold open to at some point, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. So I love, speaking of just something ties into Chuck, tied into his kind of his big breakdown, which was really a scary scene too. When he's in that hospital, the scene starts with that big old loud booming music cue. When you just see his eyes just going like really close to the camera after he's been tasered.
It's almost kind of like Hans Zimmer-esque.
Yes, very much so. But I got to tell you though, again, I really do love Better Call Saul season 1. I really only have one gripe with it, really. Just the cops just busting in and tasering him. It seems very.
Yeah, we talked about that. I remember we had a pretty long discussion about
We did. I mean,
don't tase me, bro.
I mean, literally, if the guy politely asks, please don't. Out of all the things, dear God, I beg you, do not pull out the tasers.
Exactly. They couldn't even give him that courtesy. I mean, come on.
Anyway. But what I'm saying is, like, I love the kind of thing that triggered that whole event was him going out to the paper because of Jimmy's hero scam.
Sure, sure. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So yes, I just want to mention that Jimmy's hero scam. That was a lovely sequence in the first season. Just him kind of first you're kind of wrapped into it, thinking, oh, that's Jimmy being heroic, and of course you realize it's such a well orchestrated plan, though.
Yeah. Okay, so for the last couple things to talk about with season 1, I think we should get into the Hamlin and Hamlin Corporation.
Well, I thought you were gonna want to get into some other juicy stuff. But we'll get to that. Okay, so Hamlin.
Well, I mean, like, mostly Howard Hamlin and then Kim.
Oh, yes, well, I do love Kim Wexler. I think she's fantastic.
And from what I hear, she is definitely going to be a major character this next season. I think she's going to kind of be. She's definitely going to be the anti-Skyler. She's going to shape who Saul Goodman is in a way, I think.
Here's a big question. Do you think he's eventually going to marry this girl as one of his ex-wives?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I had to remember one of his ex-wives slept with his slept with his stepfather or his father?
God, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch that scene.
That's gonna be tough. I hope to God that's not Kim Wexler.
I know.
Okay, anyways, well, yeah. So the Hamlin thing, just like he just Hamlin, we find out, is not the bad guy,
which was the most juicy part of season 1, in my opinion. Like, I loved Howard Hamlin's arc. He really was kind of supportive of Jimmy McGill the whole way through, and Jimmy just didn't see that. And I thought that was kind of beautiful storytelling.
Yeah, it makes you emphasize again. Howard Hamlin played it so. Patrick Fabian, he played it so well in the season where Hamlin, he was so charming and charismatic that he was played by the bad guy by Jimmy. You could definitely see the villainous side of what he was doing, but the thing is, it wasn't really that villainous. So it was perceived as villainous, and there's nothing contradicting that. He was in like this really kind of this hearsay place of, I mean, you like him, and you kind of you see he's like. I love in the commentaries too. Patrick Fabian's like so hilarious when the commentaries point out how basically point out like he's like the trendy handsome guy in the show.
Well, no, but at the end of the day, I really do think Howard Hamlin came off looking like the most genuinely good person out of all of the cast in season 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, even though you love to hate him because, like, I mean, it's the thing, you don't want to hate him, but it's like Jimmy hates him with a passion, and he's just so darn charismatic, you can't hate him.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because you don't know if he's a villain or not, and they play that so well, building that to that reveal.
And so I really hope that in season 2 they have more scenes of Hamlin and Jimmy kind of like, Hamlin wanting to join up with Jimmy, and Jimmy's kind of like, fine,
Yeah, because you gotta remember, Hamlin does like Jimmy. He does maybe call him Charlie Hustle, even.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's one of the things I love about Hamlin. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, Hamlin didn't remember that great opening we had where Jimmy is finally passes the bar. He gets his letter. He can his degree, I guess.
Mm.
And when he does that, Howard Hamlin has a heartbreaking scene where it's like he's done without sound, pretty much. He just walks into the room and he breaks the news to him because of Chuck. Because he walks in there, he basically gives him the bad news that he can't hire him. Remember, that sticks in Jimmy's craw so much. That's why he's just kind of becoming a lawyer, partly out of spite in many ways, just becoming his own lawyer because he wanted to work for that law firm.
Oh yeah.
And again, you feel so bad for Hamlin, though, because Hamlin didn't want to do this to Jimmy. And again, there's that scene, of course, one of the best Howard Hamlin scenes, one of the great scenes on the rewatch you saw, and the one you rewatched. In Pimento, you just have that fantastic scene, that so heartbreaking scene where the news is broken to Jimmy in the room. And, Howard Hamlin just has to be, like Chuck saying, go on, Howard, tell him. Essentially, that's what he's doing. He's just saying, go on, Howard, break his heart, go on.
Mm-hmm.
And just Howard's like telling him, no, Jimmy, we want to.
Which to me just makes Chuck just get under my skin all the more. Like, he's essentially kind of villainizing Howard when Howard is a genuinely good guy.
And it's the fact that here's what's so scary about this. Just Chuck's playing innocent. Like, what is it, Howard? What's wrong?
Oh God, right.
And you feel Howard's like reading from a script. He's like reading, Enron's gone down. Everyone's losing their jobs. Essentially, that's what he's reading to Jimmy. No Christmas this year. Tell the kids to kick the puppy. That sort of thing.
Oh God.
That's what he's doing. The poor Jimmy here, and you feel so bad for Howard Hamlin on the rewatch. Like, oh, and of course, Jimmy calls him that really bad name.
Oh God, right.
The name that amazingly they were able to get away with 2 this season of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, is there any way you can turn down my volume on your side without complicating things, or is that
turn down your volume? I mean, I've been rewatching the shows we've been recording, and we haven't been having echo problems, so I think we're good. But I will try.
Just a little, you know.
Okay, how's that?
But that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, not perfect, but it'll work.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're at the Hamlin stuff. Of course, you do see there is like one villainous act Howard Hamlin does do this season. One villainous act where he does exercise his powers. So we should address this. Of course, when he puts Porky and Wexler in the what does he call it? The corn, and Jimmy calls it like the cornrows or something in the cornfields. Yeah, basically all the boxes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I have to look it up. Yeah,
because she, again, through no fault of her own, she screws up the Kettleman's thing, and not her fault at all. But Howard Hamlin that's a big account that they lost, and he punishes her essentially by putting her in the kind of fills her office full of those boxes like she did when she started out, way back when Jimmy was in the mailroom, which is not fair to Kim Wexler. Which again, he's embittered by that. So again, that's the one villainous act Hamlin does do.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not even towards Jimmy. Like, I think throughout the whole season, Hamlin has a vested interest in helping Jimmy.
Absolutely. I mean, he wants to. Like he is kind of sending the money to Chuck, but in a similar way to Jimmy too.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta wonder though. You think? I'm just trying to think about the cashing out option. That is kind of making me think. Back in the first episode, when Jimmy's talking about, like, why don't you cash out Chuck? What do you think is running through Hamlin's mind during that scene? Just given all we know about how deep Chuck has things laid in there, do you think he would actually benefit from cashing Chuck out of the company?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it
would be $17 million.
I feel like we're going to get some of those deeper kind of strategic thoughts from Hamlin in the second season.
Because you got to think about it. I mean, they would lose, and Chuck was right in this. Actually, when you think about it, it's like Chuck has a kind of an evil, devious plan, if you want to look at it that way. That Chuck, he pointed out to Jimmy, let's follow this to its logical conclusion, Jimmy. If I cash out, yes, we get $17 million, but that's $17 million away from the company, which they would take out by firing employees and downgrading the company, which would including your friend Kim. Which again, Chuck is so evil. He cemented his place in there. If he did take a leave of absence.
And I'm glad you're using the word evil with Chuck, because it took a lot of convincing on my part last season.
I'm saying that because I'm saying it could be perceived as evil. I still think there's a little bit of...
I think he's definitely evil. I think Chuck is the most manipulative character on the show.
Look, I think Chuck's absolutely misguided. I don't think he's beyond saving. I think he's going to redeem himself. That's my point.
I don't know. I think that's where you and I differ, BlueDragonFive.
Look, I'm saying that is definitely something that could be absolutely perceived as evil, but I'm thinking it's kind of like the Howard Hamlin thing to an extent, where it is a perceived thing of he makes a very valid point, but that also at the same time cements his employment in that company no matter what he does, which could be perceived as like a brilliant masterstroke of a plan.
Sure.
And we know Chuck's a smart guy, but at the same time it is like an innocent thing. Like, well, obviously we don't want people to get fired, Jimmy. Come on. So either way, you got some. Again, that makes Chuck so complex and brilliantly played.
Okay, so I guess really quick, some stuff on Wexler.
Well, let's say most of the character-based stuff for the characters. Let's talk about one thing though. Let's talk about Mike.
Mike, okay, definitely.
Mike's backstory specifically, the Mike backstory.
I think this is where we're going to kind of lead into Gus in the third season. I'm speculating.
Really? You think we're getting Gus this early?
I don't think we're getting Gus this season. What I'm saying is I think Mike's storyline is going to take us to Gus.
I think I'll give you this much. I think the end of the season will set up the Fring connections.
I think so, because it's got to happen, man, because I think that is like one of the main kind of loose ends of Better Call Saul is how the hell did he get in contact with Fring? You know, what is the Fring connection?
I think he's kind of his freelance work is going to. I'll get into the specifics of this when we get a little later on in speculation. Let's just say I think his freelancing work he's doing right now by Joe DeRosa's veterinarian character.
Sure.
That eventually is going to dry up, and then he'll eventually get into kind of his lucrative, kind of long-spanning job with Gus Fring.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we're definitely going to see that this season. I think this season I would be surprised if we didn't get some sort of Los Polos reference.
And I'll bet you season 3 is going to be kind of like that's going to be their trump card for season 3. It's going to be the Fring season.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Which,
yeah.
oddly enough, it kind of was. If you set up at the end of 2, it's very similar to what Breaking Bad did. You set up at the end of 2, and 3 is kind of your big Gus Fring season. Then, of course,
no, I think 4 is definitely the big Gus Fring season. But
I was getting there. The build of Gus Fring.
Sure.
You set him up. He's like introduced in 3, and then 4 is just when he's like it's the takedown Gus Fring season, which I don't think we're gonna have.
Introduced very minorly in 2, and then he has a big role in 3, and then 4 he's like all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we're gonna get the season 4 kind of we got to take down Gus Fring type story.
Oh no, because obviously the whole takedown Gus Fring thing already played out.
Exactly, but I mean, we can't just have. We can't have like Gus Fring being a huge superpower. He's got to be there. He's got to be doing stuff. We can't have him overshadow the show now.
I think the more fascinating kind of implications is what it means for Mike's character and Mike's moral compass and whatnot.
I predict season 3 is going to be more of a divided split between Jimmy and Mike. I think Mike's going to have more story presence, which will allow for the Gus Fring stories in that too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, anyway, so real quick. So again, Mike's backstory specifically, though. So when I say Mike's backstory, I mean kind of the Phil. There was a big moment for the season. Like people who weren't sold on the show, definitely. This is the trump card. Like people will have to at least check out the show for the big missing piece of Mike Ehrmantraut's backstory. We're gonna slide in here.
So, do you think that we're going to get another episode similar to 5-0?
Now let me think. What can they do with that really? Because that was a big thing. The killing of these sons killers.
Of course.
Just trying to think what other big kind of thing are we missing from I mean Kaylee was born already. The only thing we could do is just see. I don't think they're going to replicate exactly. Do like another Mike centric episode, but I mean, they could do a Mike-centric episode, but
I think we're going to get a Mike-centric episode, but I think it's probably going to be mostly in the present.
Yeah, Mike-centric, but I mean, I don't know what the presence for this would be, but I mean, it would be nice to see. I'm saying Mike a little similar to what we already saw, which is why I'm having doubts about this, but what we could see is actually see Mike's son living and breathing in a flashback.
Okay.
I'm saying, see the birth of Kaylee and see Mike just kind of be present for that thing, but still at a distance,
Yeah, I can see that. It definitely adds some shade to his character.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Mike is finally put Mike there in that moment where Kaylee's born with his sons. If someone cast someone as a son, that would be awesome to see. That'd be the kind of final thing to fill in for Mike Ehrmantraut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. But yeah, the point is the backstory was a stroke of brilliance because it was almost purely a Breaking Bad episode that wasn't just
yeah, that's the funny thing about it. It was kind of like just a bonus, like, hey, Breaking Bad fans, this is essentially all Breaking Bad, so just enjoy it. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, and of course you got a scene with Jimmy McGill in there, and of course the rest. The rest plays out, just kind of melds into the other episodes, kind of the end of the first episode 5 and the beginning of episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, it's like nice. I think it's nicely laid in there. Something important that definitely, if people are interested before this, like kind of the trump card, like you have to at least check out this show.
Oh yeah.
Which was clever, and it was an excellent sequence. Just very noirish, very kind of it was a cop drama. It was also like the beautiful Emmy-winning performance of Jonathan Banks. I mean, I don't think it won an Emmy. I'm saying it should have won an Emmy.
Oh my God! I just rewatching his breakdown in that episode alone. That was the only part of the episode I could rewatch given my time crunch. But yeah, he definitely deserved an Emmy for that.
I broke my boy.
It was heartbreaking.
I broke my boy.
You broke my boy.
Oh God, that sucked. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
the delivery is just out of this world for sure.
we can't dwell on that, or else we're gonna need the inside out.
The inside out tissues, BlueDragonFive.
Look away! I said, look away, child.
Okay.
I'm still in my Deadpool fixation right now, folks.
Oh God, Deadpool's so awesome. But yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so back to the Kettleman. Speaking of Mike, another kind of bit of Mike awesomeness: the Kettleman money theft, the money setup. So Mike was strategically he was outside the Kettleman's house and he was observing them with the binoculars, and of course he sprayed the money so he could use a black light to track the location, which is a brilliant sequence.
Oh yeah. It really kind of calls to mind like sequences where he uses the balloons to break into that one place and stuff.
Oh my
like
God,
that.
I love the balloon bit so much. You have no idea how much I love that whole the balloon sequence.
Oh yeah, it's great.
This is when if anyone just didn't get Mike Ehrmantraut, that's the moment where everyone just like they fell in love, head over heels in love with Mike Ehrmantraut episode.
Okay.
Okay, but seriously, the Kettleman. By the way, I love design-wise. They mentioned this too, like because the girl's doll being kind of a fixture of that one episode, they kind of set up it was kind of an accident. It was kind of like a happy accident. The Kettleman's house, because it has those giant glass windows, it looks like a dollhouse from the side.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and point is, they worked to their advantage. Like Mike, it's like Wade get these great shots, just seeing all the action unfold. And you know exactly where everything's going. Mike gets kind of a good idea where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Really not a good idea to have a really entirely glass house, though, when you think about it.
No. Those in glass houses, BlueDragonFive, you know what they say.
Yeah, you don't want to throw stones.
I don't even know why that metaphor works. It just does.
Or in Mike's case, you don't want to throw apple cores.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Point is, it's really well thought out heist. And anyways, the other thing, heist and just kind of like stakeout, I should say, more stakeout. But the other thing is kind of connected back to our title character, Jimmy's choice. That's the big thing of that episode. That's the big sad moment at the end there. It encapsulates everything we know about Jimmy.
I actually don't think it's a sad choice at all. I think it was kind of like an uplifting kind of moment to end the series on.
Well, no, not that moment. I mean the moment when he decides to hand over the money, and he's in the office and he's slamming the door.
Oh, right. Yeah, my bad.
That moment where he had everything in his fingertips. Had the money, he was building, basically building the Better Call Saul business that would have been like many, many times better than the one he has in Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, he has a very smart strategic location in Breaking Bad. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about like just in the idealistic mind, like being the certified, the beloved lawyer, the go-to lawyer, living like in a really nice building, everything. He would have had everything.
Which is definitely kind of like a dichotomy between Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad and then Jimmy McGill in Better Call Saul, is that, and we've said this from the start, it's kind of been one of the mission statements of the show, is like Jimmy McGill, he is kind of like the shine your shoes, professional lawyer who wants to go by the books. Saul Goodman obviously is not. So just seeing those two kind of get to that same place, is going to be a fascinating ride.
And what this scene really set up is so well is he's so representative of the characters that this is still in this first season. Jimmy still has these ethics, and he does the right thing in the end, which is really hard for him because again he had everything in his heart had desired in terms of like setting up his ideal life, and in the end doing the right thing put him back at pitiful square one. And there's that moment of sadness, but then here's the moment where it sells you on the characters. It's that moment of Peter Gould said it best. The other creator of Saul and the showrunner, Peter Gould, he said this perfect quote for Jimmy. He says, "Jimmy and Saul, Jimmy specifically, always bounces back. The only time he doesn't bounce back instantly is after Pimento, but he bounces back usually. Every time he hits a low point, like at the end of this episode, he hits the low point of like he loses the office, he throws a hissy fit behind the door, rightfully so. Don't get me
wrong. Right.
And then he's just kind of sad at the
a trash can or two.
Yeah, of course. And then he answers the phone. He's just back to business. Hello, you've reached the old law offices of James M. McGill. I'm saying he bounces back. That's the thing about his character. He bounces back no matter what kind of thing he does, and that's going to be where he's going to be out in season 2 for sure. But let's see real quick. Of course, we've seen Jimmy at literally doing whatever it takes to win a case. You're showing the determination of this guy, which you got to applaud. He's literally dumpster diving for Dumpster diving.
Oh, dear God, the dumpster diving. I forgot all about that.
In a retirement home, by the way, which has like dirty diapers and everything.
Man. I think that was kind of one of the more reminiscent scenes of Breaking Bad, just from a gross out perspective.
Yeah, this season had a lot of gross out. That's definitely some, like at least 2 big gross out bits.
Very much call to mind Jesse Pinkman's kind of like literal crawling through shit moment.
Yep. Jesse Pinkman crawled through a porta potty and climbed out the other side with blue hands, and every time I touched Walter White would smell his lapels. Sorry. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, the point is, so after Jimmy's dumpster diving, that's also another thing that's representative of the character. He's willing to do whatever it takes. He has that determination, doing whatever it takes to win the case. But and yet again, show you that he bounces back. He finds nothing. He gets out of that trash can. He's diving through the muck literally, and then But then, of course, dumb luck strikes him, though, just showing that his hard work does pay off, and that it right next to the trash can is the recycling bin, or he should have checked in the first place. The point is, though, it's that Jimmy will still, he puts in all the hard work. It doesn't turn out the way he expects, but still luck finds its way to him.
That's a great punchline. That's a great punchline.
It is, but showing you he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, even though he probably could approach things a little
For sure.
Okay, and of course, the pimento gun scene, which is, as Vince Gilligan called, by the way, a YouTube sensation.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best scenes of the whole series.
Yes, the pimento guns. Oh, it's so fantastic. Just
what's in the bag? It's a pimento.
Funny. Well, seriously, what's in the bag? Pimento. It's a type of cheese.
It's a type of cheese.
Oh my God. And then just again, just showing you how awesome Mike is. Just kind of, he basically disarms the guy, and they removed the frame. I found this out in the commentary. They removed the frame of the shots, which it's more of an abrupt kind of hit when he just takes one step forward, then bang.
Okay.
Right in the windpipe. They took a frame out just to intensify the violence. Like when he's taking a step over, it's like the step is like cut. It's like instantly there, like, and then my favorite thing. I'm telling you this, it's like rewatching. It's like the Man Mountain, the huge guy. There was Jonathan Banks has this great bit where he just looks up at him to see how tall he is. But just Man Mountain is so terrifying. I love Jonathan. Like I mentioned, it cracks you up. I remember on the thing, but it's like the Mean Joe Green coconut smile moment from Mike Herman trying to offer some like gun. I have so many guns here. I don't know so many guns here. I don't know. You want one? It's like to me that's like the Mean Joe Green coconut smile moment. Well, you just like hand him I would take a gun by Mike Herman shot. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Oh hell yeah! If Mike Herman tried to offer me a gun, I'd be like.
Then again, I think what Man Mountain's afraid of, and what we probably in hindsight would be definitely afraid of, is it's a demonstration. Because remember, he strategically needs all the money there in that situation to get the 1,500. So he either is intending to also take out Man Mountain, but thankfully he runs away, or do you think it's that he would have just allowed him to go on the job, but just taken a smaller cut? What do you think it was?
Oh God, I don't even know.
He proves the point with the 1,500, but if he took like
whatever it is, it's just awesome, Mike.
It is. The point is just a fantastic scene that is worth all the hype. Just oh my God, that's why you gotta watch the show. Just to get that pimento moment.
It's a pimento. It's a type of cheese. It's a sandwich. Do you want it or not, Jesse?
Okay, let's see. So in the Chuck reveal scene, which we talked about next, that's just kind of going over my notes here. But again, the Chuck reveal scene, but really, I love Odenkirk's side of that too. Odenkirk says like he plays it so fantastically, and Odenkirk just to kind of address it. The way he plays Jim McGill differently than Saul. It filled him with hope, and again, as a different character essentially. He's in this scene. He plays him of that great heartbreaking line where he says, "Keep Jimmy down in the mailroom." Because he's not good enough to be a lawyer. Whenever he says that, it's like it hits home with just the betrayal in his voice. It's like the defeated like smile on his face, like Bob Odenkirk's smile. I'm like kind of thinking of like, right, keep Jimmy down in the mailroom because he's not good enough to be a lawyer. It's like kind of that smile with discipline of like, I'm taking another one of life's punches, sort of thing,
Yeah, I definitely think the Chuck reveal was by far the most, had the most pathos throughout the whole season and kind of justified the season's narrative.
Just the ending when he walks out on Chuck too, and just
for sure.
Well, everything you need's in there, and good luck. And he leaves like Jimmy, and he walks off.
Yeah, and it just kind of contradicts everything we've seen so far. It's such a powerful reveal. Like I said, like I think in general, season one wasn't quite as exciting as it could have been. It was a great ride. Definitely had some fun character moments, but the Chuck scene was by far the thing that definitely set it apart. You know, that was the thing that made you keep coming back.
Oh yeah, and because again, Chuck was such a kind of compelling, kind of heartbreaking thing in Jimmy McGill's history, but then you find out that oh my God, the big source of sympathy for Jimmy McGill has actually been conspiring against him. It's like so, oh my God,
And
your
it's
brother
great because it's like
stabbing
we
me in the
feel the
heart, you know?
betrayal just as much as Jimmy does in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
really well.
and of course, the last episode has two big moments in it. I mean, one of the biggest moments would be the slipping Jimmy montage with him and Marco.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, him and Mark, just that montage was so artfully done, like the use of color, use of everything. I think they've said on there was one of the hardest segments they've ever done on Breaking Bad. But my God, it looks so. You know, with the Breaking Bad crew,
Of course,
it's
right.
it looks so great, doesn't it? It's like it's against the black background. You see all the different scams, like the oil money scam. You know, the oh man, it's.
It kind of reminded me of something out of like a 1970s heist thriller or something like
Yes, it feels so Ocean's
that.
11, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally,
It's
totally.
just like original Ocean's 11, not the Brad Pitt one, folks.
No, not the one where it's like,
I'm
hey,
talking,
it's Brad Pitt and a bunch of his celebrity friends. Yay.
I'm talking Sammy Davis Jr.
Frank Sinatra, of course, of course.
And, you know, there's a whole bunch of them. I'm talking Bishop. I'm talking Martin. I'm talking Jr. Not Walter Jr. because he'd be a lot out of place in that movie.
All right.
Okay, so again, the Slim Jimmy montage I thought was fantastic. One of the most artfully well done sequences of that episode, and I believe it ends with the Kevin Costner scam, right? But
Oh,
the next
yes,
morning, it's
so.
the
I
morning
think that's
after.
right towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, the morning after is the Kevin Costner realization.
Which is such a great reveal. That's by far the best Breaking Bad Easter egg in the whole series, I think, so far.
Right. Okay. Last thing, of course, would be the smoke on the water bit.
And I love how this comes back. And of course, we had a lot of fun playing with that. And then Breaking Bad also, or Bates Motel also using smoke on the water.
Yeah, smoke on the water for me is kind of remembering back to School of Rock. I was it's like kind of the basics of rock and roll, like the dun dun. So basically, whenever you're just kind of getting a vibe and just kind of get like the tune of the guitar, I guess like that dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
Yeah, basically that beginning there, and the rest of it just kind of goes from there. It's like a great way, like Jimmy's off to like a dangerous road now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like him making that choice though, like I'm not taking the safe road. I'm not taking the safe future. I'm taking the gutsy unknown road.
Which to me was a perfect ending point for the first season.
It was, and it's kind of the basics of, in a way. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to just say it's like kind of duplicating anything. I'm just saying in a similar route of Breaking Bad is kind of taking that. We could just go the conventional route here and be safe, and with like, okay, so it's again, I always like using this kind of as an example. It's kind of the Schwartz solution. It's kind of the episode 5 of Breaking Bad. They go with the Gretchen Elliott Schwartz. And you think, okay, the show's just going to continue. Like, okay, Jesse and Walter are going to be cooking meth, and that's going to be the show until they raise enough money. Okay, but then you're like, okay, well, instant solution, the show's over. But then Walter really makes a character choice, and then it continues. And this is Jimmy McGill making his character choice, so it can go in a different direction you ever thought it would.
Yeah, that's a very, very accurate comparison, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I mean, we talked about the characters here and there, but I guess kind of firing through kind of ones you're going to definitely going to have a role this coming season.
Okay.
Well, Jimmy kind of goes without saying, but again, with the point we left off with Jimmy, he's going to be definitely going in a more kind of eventually, not self-destructive is the wrong word to use, but I mean he's going in a
I
career.
think more self-interested is the right word.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like career-wise, it's self-destructive. It's destroying the path that Jimmy originally set out for himself, but building upon a different path altogether. It's like.
Which, as we know, is kind of one of the mission statements of the whole show. So, yeah.
It's like deconstructing the bridge you just passed, but building it on the way to a new territory,
Uh-huh.
It's like there's a no going back. It's like no going back. It
Right.
seems like he's burning his bridges so he can forge new destiny into uncharted territory, which is still a scary thing. That's what it kind of sounds like with Jimmy.
And we're definitely going to have to see some bridges burned or, some people die or something, because that's one of the things, that's one of the big loose ends. It's kind of like all these characters that play a role in Jimmy's life, whereas Saul Goodman by Breaking Bad seems like a very isolated and lonely guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. We got, of course, Chuck. Of course, again, wanted to play by Michael McKean, but with Chuck, he could be going. This season will really dictate how Chuck really is. If there's any saving Chuck, or if he's just going to be continually just going to be. We've lost faith in him. That there's no saving Chuck, because I still think there is a little bit of saving.
You
Chuck.
know my opinion on Chuck. I think he's the evil bastard of the whole show.
I know, but there's a chance that. Well, let me tell you what Michael McKean said. Now we're on the character. I want to mention this.
Okay.
Michael McKean had a very interesting point on Chuck. Remember, Chuck, he didn't know about the Chuck thing until when eventually those episodes started to come up. So he just played it, which kind of adds to the kind of the he doesn't even know it yet. That's why he's so convincing as just the helpful brother.
Right, and that does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, at some point he did find out, though, of course, when the show started to get in that direction.
It's kind of like the old, the Luke Skywalker, I am your father thing.
Yeah. But my point is, Michael McKean, he had this really great quote that kind of sums up with Chuck, the reason for Chuck's betrayal on a deep-seated level, and it really makes a lot of sense. It's something it's suggested they're going to explore this. I don't know how literally they're going to explore this. It's something they're going to explore in season 2 with the Chuck McGill backstories. That it's mentioned. It's an offhanded reference in this first season, but it's kind of like McKean said that. Their mother, who died, don't get me wrong, because they mentioned the mother died at the end of the season.
Right.
Then their mother, Jimmy always made their mother laugh, and Chuck made her proud. So the idea that Chuck would be jealous of Jimmy because he he made her proud, but she never loved him as much as she loved Jimmy. And I'm saying of the jealousy.
So it's essentially like likability versus success.
Which sticks in his crawl. What's the whole Jimmy slipping Jimmy with a law degree? It's like more dangerous than a chimp with a machine gun.
Oh God!
But that's what feeds into that. Chuck, on some level, has a point. On some level, he does have a point. Like real lawyers, I've heard have actually on the Breaking Bad stuff. They talk to lawyers and stuff. And they mention that they actually can definitely see Chuck's point of view that Jimmy with law degree. And we know ultimately he turns into Saul Goodman, which is a very unethical lawyer. And there are many lawyers who do have a lot of reference. Like look at Dean Strang for modern reference. Dean Strang from Making a Murderer. He believes in the law.
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
And take my word for it. He's a good lawyer. He's a good guy in that show. He's like one you root for. Like he actually believes in the law. He wants to exonerate.
No, I actually heard he is like one of the most likable people in that whole show. So.
My favorite character in it. Not a character. He's a real guy. But my favorite person from the show. Okay, my point is it's like the lawyers do actually have a lot of reverence for law, and Chuck he's part of HHM. The M is him.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea of just Jimmy, he comes at Jimmy does things unconventionally, but he's getting up there in the world. He's turned his life around, but to him, people don't change in his viewpoint, which again is very hypocritical because again Chuck's trying to change from his condition.
And I think you just said the magic word. I mean, Chuck is a hypocrite. That is kind of what makes it so
he's blinded by pride. The thing that his mother found so compelling about him, he made her proud, is like blinded him at this point because he's jealous by that not getting all the love. I mean, he's immature. You're right. I mean, I think I'm right because I brought up and you're bringing up that. I'm sorry. He's getting hypocritical because he's blinded by the fact that he's immature where Jimmy is more mature than he is with this.
On some levels, but on other levels, we can obviously see how Chuck is more professional than Jimmy.
Absolutely, I mean, Chuck does
the whole thing so complicated.
Again, like Chuck has the credentials, but Jimmy technically has the credentials. Basically, he's embittered by the fact that Jimmy just coasts through life because he's likable, because he has the personality, because people like him, and again, Mom likes him deep down. That's the reason, because Mom likes him.
If you like these things, you should really check out The Social Network, because literally, as we're talking about this, I'm like, this is like everything that goes down in The Social Network.
But see what I mean? That's Chuck's problem. Is that he's you can't coast by in life just because you're likable. No, I can, and I'm actually good at a job. If you would just open your eyes to see that. No, you have to have this and this. You can't break the mold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting because you can see where Chuck, like when he's conversing with the standpipe guys. Sorry, not standpipe. Why? That was my only other gripe. That was my only other gripe with the season. I had two gripes with the season: the cop thing, and why did they pick two names that were so similar?
Yeah, fair enough.
Sandpiper and Standpipe. I'm saying they're very similar. The Standpipe is an actual thing, but Sandpiper, you couldn't come up with any name.
Yeah, they could have come up with like any retirement home at all, like anything. Sandpiper doesn't even sound like a thing that would be in New Mexico.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
Any name.
Get together, Breaking Bad writers. Come on.
Again, I love these guys are the best of the best. They couldn't come up with one different name. One. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here, but point is, yeah, I mentioned all we really need to say with Chuck, I guess, is it's just Chuck. He's definitely misguided to say the least, and again, that's really what's sticking in his crawl character-wise. He can't stand how likable Jimmy is.
For sure.
Definitely sets up kind of like this guy still has a long ways to go before we kind of see kind of that guy we thought he was in the beginning of that season.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Mike will be definitely get more interesting as we can speculate. It seems like he's going to be more than just a toll booth operator. I think he's still going to be at that job though as cover.
I think the veterinarian is definitely going to play a role here.
I love that veterinarian. You know me.
He's such a cool concept for sure.
He is. Do you think the veterinarian's going to get killed at some point on this show?
Could be. I could see that. I mean, he is living a dangerous lifestyle.
He is. Wouldn't it be just kind of like horrifying if he just comes in one day and the veterinarian's just found dead on the floor, and then Mike just springs into action mode, look around the premises like, wait, who's around here?
Oh God.
Let's see. So, I'm sorry. Anything in particular you want to say about Mike, or should we just say mostly Mike stuff for speculation?
We should mostly save it for spec, I would think.
Okay, Kim Wexler. I mean, again, that's the real way to summarize her. Again, she's the anti-Skyler, which is fantastic. She was
Skyler. I think that's just kind of like the bumper sticker equivalent to what you have with Kim Wexler.
And again, it's like on basically on every written level, she is exactly what I want in a female character. She is not conventional. She's not doing everything she's not making every season 2 mistake that Skyler made.
I think a great way to sum up Kim Wexler and Jimmy McGill's relationship is that they're both wearing masks throughout their day, and the reason why they get along with each other so well is that when they're around each other, they can take off the mask.
And you got that quote from?
Vince Gilligan.
There you go. Making sure.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I was going to be very dumbfounded if you came up with that from the spot, like, oh my God, I can't believe that. It's an amazing coincidence. I just want to make sure of that, because I would just be dumbfounded that actually happened.
Like you thought like my drunk ass self came up with that? No.
Vince I'm just saying, I was watching the promo stuff to kind of make sure we know what we know for going into season 2. You're just making sure of that, and it's like, oh my God, that is the exact same quote.
No, I'm just pointing out what Vince Gilligan said, and he made a very good point.
Yes, you're absolutely right, though. That is a very good point. Kim Wexler, just for me, it's like she talks through it. She does what a female character should do. She's like, not just because she feels, because she's a person. She's not just like the obstacle in the room. She's not like Jimmy's friend who is like, oh no, Jimmy, you're doing everything wrong. She's not doing that. She's like saying, well, Jimmy, why would you? She's the heart and soul of Jimmy McGill in many ways.
In some ways, yeah, definitely.
Like, she is what Jimmy should aspire to be, but she's also kind of stymied the way Jimmy would be if he were accepted.
Mm.
Again, she's just – I can't express my love for Kim. Just to show you what I've done in other shows, like, whenever I find a female character is written so well, so three-dimensionally, so realistically the way it should be written, I say that's a Kim Wexler.
She's basically an adjective at this point, yes.
For me, she's an adjective. It's just the Kim Wexler is just the model for me of like kind of what to do with a not doing the conventional female character.
Totally.
Female supporting character, I guess. So in general, though, good female.
I think in season 2 she's going to be more of a main character,
which will be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Howard Hamill. I think we talked enough about Howard Hamill. I love Patrick Fabian. He does a great job, and we'll get more dimension with him next. Of course, Nacho.
Nacho was one of the big disappointments for me. I thought he should have had a lot more to do in season 1 than he actually did.
Well, to be fair, again, they knew they were doing 2 seasons. They just set him up that season. They're doing more. They've said they're doing a lot more stuff with Nacho this season.
Well, they better really pay him off then.
Well, basically, from what I understand, basically he will. From what I've been seeing in the promos, the very little, like 30-second spots. Bear in mind, and the
Yeah,
basically
that's
then.
one of the things we should address is that this season has been very under promoted, and it kind of worries me.
Yeah, well, then again, the first season was under promoted too. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. When I say under promoted, I mean like their
I don't know about that because I think there was definitely a hype about the first season at least.
Yeah, I just realized. Yeah, the hype. You're right. There was a lot of hype. I think I'm seeing
Whereas
still
with
trailer.
season 2, it's kind of like if you ask people off the street, hey, do you know that Better Call Saul has come back? Like, oh, okay.
No, I mean marketing. I mean trailer-wise, it was the same thing though. There was a lot more hype and expectation because it was coming back. But it was the same amount. We got 2 first looks and we got like 30-second spots.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean that's the same thing we got with one, but only
Of course, you and me are waiting for a full trailer for Bates Motel. We're waiting with bated breath for that.
You have no idea. But
well, I mean, you just got you literally are like a kid who just had their dreams come true with Deadpool. So now you're just like what's next? What's next?
Well, next for me is Batman v Superman to see how much that lives up
Well,
to
we'll
that.
see.
But,
We'll see about that.
I just say I think Deadpool is just that's the standard to measure everything. That's just that's the blue meth of the movie year right now. It's the 100% in my heart. It's 100% in my heart of like, oh my god, it's everything I could have wanted from this movie. But enough of my love for that. Let's save that for another time.
Right.
Okay, but point is not in the let's just say the 30-second promo we did see. I'm getting a sense that all the Mike stuff this season will definitely involve Nacho. I'm getting a sense of that this season.
That would make sense. That would be a good character to pair him off with.
And they did set that up last season. With Nacho was kind of re-involved in the plot with Mike's story. So I think that's a continuation of that. It's going to be going on this season. That's going to be our solution to lack of Nacho the first season.
Okay.
Kettlemans.
Kettleman, I just hope they're around, man. They're just so fun. I don't even want to speculate on what they could do. They're just
really. I got a good thing to spec about them, but I'm going to save it for later if you want to hear. Okay. Stacey Erman Trout. That's probably the last one I think I got here.
Yeah, I don't know. They have a complex relationship, so we'll see if we get many more scenes of them.
I know one thing. I want more Kaylee Erman Trout. I love those scenes so much. I love Kaylee and Mike's scenes.
Well, it definitely adds a sympathy layer to Mike for sure.
I'm saying we don't need to overcredit. I'm just saying I want those definitely in the season because I love
right. And I'm sure we'll get it.
You have Jonathan Banks playing with Play-Doh with a little girl. That's adorable. Little Michelangelo. Oh no, it was like the female version of Michelangelo. It was like Michelina.
Yeah.
And I probably said he said it. He's goddamn it. He said it better.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Anyways, let's see. So I guess now we should go to kind of list off our references of Better Call Saul.
Yeah, let's go through it quickly because I feel like we're kind of going longer than usual. But
okay, so our openings, of course, the really artful openings we had for Better Call Saul, there are little hints at kind of the future of the fully formed organization of Better Call Saul.
Do you have them all in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's go through and see if we can make some kind of cohesive story out of it.
Oh, well, now that okay, well, we start with the Statue of Liberty in the first episode. Okay. Then we have the Cadillac episode.
Cadillac. Okay, so both of those things connect to Saul Goodman.
Yeah. Episode 3 was the scales of justice that are in Saul Goodman's
again
office.
Kind of connecting to Saul Goodman and the Better Call Saul establishment.
Well, they all connected the Better Call Saul establishment. It's not a surprise. They all have Better Call Saul related merchandise on them.
Okay, fair enough. So that's the story. Then we don't have to dwell on it.
Okay, continuing forward, though, there's the cell phone drawer.
Right.
What is it within our episode?
I think the cell phone drawer was one of my favorites.
Right. And there was the bench.
Oh yeah.
Which was the very same bench, by the way, Badger was busted on.
I figured.
There's the phone, the pay phone, and the phone book.
Right.
Then there was the chi machine. Then there was the tie and tarantula.
Oh, good stuff.
Then there was the matchbook in the urinal. Now, this one was, the rest of them we can, we spent so many episodes just kind of analyzing the meaning of these before, but these last two particularly do actually represent very well what the episodes are about. The the ninth episode was the matchbook in the urinal, and that everything's going down the toilet for Jimmy.
Right, of course.
And by the way, it's the urinal being used, by the way, which is just really so yeah, it's very representative of what that episode
Urinal
was.
being used by Chuck, probably, I'm guessing.
Well, then again, you have to go outside, so it's the urinal in the courthouse.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Then, of course, the last one was the awesome shattering mug.
Right, of course.
So it was, again, Jimmy's world just kind of crashing down on him. Just like he broke, and he's just kind of coming back from that.
Symbolism.
Yes. Okay, now let's just fire through the rest of these references. Of course, the Cinnabon and Omaha, which is mentioned at the end of Breaking Bad. Tuco Salamanca.
Oh, shit.
Right. Okay, there was Saul's wardrobe, which was hinted at. By the way, Colin Buxley, the director of many episodes of Breaking Bad, and director of Better Call Saul, he was the tailor in that scene, by the way.
Yeah.
The Kevin Costner scam, which was mentioned to Walter White, say it's a lie if you believe it.
Oh, that was a great Easter egg for sure.
I believe that was Kevin Costner. It's Vincent Gilligan's favorite Easter egg.
You know what? I think Saul did believe it. I believe that Jimmy McGill believed it in that moment.
If you build it, he will come.
And that is the mark of a good actor.
Oh, yeah. No Nose and Gonzo, they were back, and No Nose had a very funny bit.
Of course.
There's the nail salon, which I think is definitely going to be a set piece.
I love the nail salon. That was one of my favorite little bits for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. There's the nursing home, which is where eventually Uncle, what have you done to my deal? Or
what have you done to my deal?
Or Hector Salamanca will reside. Okay, let's see. The B as in Belize. From the
Oh God! Right.
There was the Leola's restaurant, which of course were all the big, meaningful kind of the diner experiences of the Breaking Bad universe occur. There's the Goodman name origin that was set up in this season. You know, the whole
which I think will get a lot more airplay in season 2. I think that's definitely one of the things we'll really be playing with.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Mike's fondness for pimento sandwiches,
which was awesome.
Yep, I love that.
Yes, if you want a sandwich, it's a pimento. It's a type of cheese. Look, this is 95% of the job. Just sitting here and eating fucking sandwiches.
Okay, the Saul has bad knees. That was definitely.
Oh my God, that's great.
When he was getting arrested, they set that up. He says, "Oh, when the cops arrest him, I got bad knees." Of course, the beginning of Saul, he has bad knees. I have bad
knees, guys. Give me a break.
Okay, let's see. Chuck lives in very close proximity to Gail Bedeker's house.
Yes.
Last two, and these were biggies. These are big, real subtle ones, by the way. One of them not so subtle. The other one is really blink and you miss it subtle. The key, I believe it's called a fub. The key fub, the little red, the red thing that Walter White used to.
I know exactly what video you're taking all these from, Mister.
Well, these last two, yes. The last two, yes. The rest of them, come on. We knew the rest of them, though. These last two, I did not know.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed about the key fob because I forgot the color was exactly the same. But
it was red. Jesse Pinkman's color.
Yes. And then the last one, this one completely went over my head. This one I thought was awesome. The Heisenberg hat.
Oh yeah.
The Heisenberg hat was snuck in there at the courthouse. It was it's placed on the coat rack. If you look really closely, it's there. Okay, so here's what we know about season 2. We're going to go through these lightning fast. Here's exactly what we know going into season 2.
Which we don't know much.
Yes, but we know a little bit more than we thought we did. Let's just rewatching all the little promotional stuff. Here's what I've learned from it. And jump in if you have anything here. So, okay, we're going to see Jimmy's ethics. Character-wise, we're going to see Jimmy's ethics becoming more skewed. You know, again, transitioning to Saul. That's going to be a big thing. Him getting closer and closer to Saul.
Right.
Our schlubby guy, Price, he's offered advice from Mike. I love schlubby guys. I love that kind of in the description. He's a schlubby guy.
Schlubby guy. Yeah.
So anyways, a schlubby guy, Price, our schlubby guy, he's offered advice from Mike, which is mentioning that, well, I advise you to reconsider what you're doing. Basically, if you do this course of action, some bad stuff's going to happen, which essentially leading to are thinking that some really bad stuff's going to happen because this guy's not taking Mike's advice. It's heavily implied.
Okay.
Jimmy's trying to get Kim Wexler on his side from her law firm finally.
Which I really do think that Kim and Jimmy are going to get together this season.
You mean romantically or just business?
I mean romantically, just based on all the hints that the producers have been giving us.
Okay. She says Jimmy's having a midlife crisis. That's how she's
right. He's floating on this ridiculous like inner tube thing in the pool.
I love the lounge chair in the pool shot. I love it. And I love how they're using that with like all like kind of the critic reviews of like saying it's a great season. It's him just lounging around. Let's see. Jimmy and Kim are bonding real nicely.
Again, like I said, I think the season is going to definitely serve as maybe. I think you're spot on that Kim is going to become one of Jimmy's ex-wives.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. We got Chuck's underlying jealousy being showcased this season. That's a big thing. It's been implied.
Man, and that's definitely the storyline I'm going to be following the most for sure.
Oh yeah, we got. Here was a big get that we're most likely it's like an 80% chance we're going to see this season. On the commentaries, they revealed something big. They revealed that the episode. I want to say it was episode 8, but it's when right after Chuck left the house. No, I'm sorry, it might have been. No, it's the beginning of Pimento. It's the beginning of Pimento.
Okay.
The begin. Oh yeah, actually, you I think you remember. So you'll tell me if I'm wrong or not. In the beginning, when their feet are on the grass and everything.
Right.
Okay, it's the right episode then.
Yeah.
The original opening for that episode is to kind of really cement the betrayal, and all they've said on that was that it was going to open with a flashback to the young McGill boys. It was going to be them as young versions of them about their past. And they said they took that out of there because they wanted something a little simpler, but also because they realized they want to use that maybe for season 2. Which sounds like too good an idea not to use for season 2. Like, you've seen the flashback of these two young guys. And
I'd be surprised if that wasn't a cool.
They didn't specify what the age was. I just called them the McGill boys because it sounded like they were going to be kids, but I don't know. Could be them just really young. But regardless, whatever they're going to do with that, it could be the inciting incident that gives Chuck his disorder, or it could be just something else in their lives that was big. And the mother liking one boy over the other, perhaps. We don't know. Getting closer to becoming Saul. We're going to get more Nacho. Looks like we're going to have some good times for Jim. We're going to set him up for a fall in the beginning of the season. So good things are going to happen, which that's not going to last because it's really hard to write good things happening for your character.
Which I think is kind of like a structure taken from Breaking Bad to a certain extent. Like Breaking Bad, all the seasons start like, oh, Walter White is in this lucrative opportunity to expand his meth empire. And then by the end, it's like, shit.
And here was a big detail, and this kind of informed a lot of my speculation, which we're going to jump into right after I mention this.
Okay.
Unless you got anything else. But Price is getting an ego with this huge truck he pulls up next to Mike with.
Right.
Price, our schlubby guy, is getting a big old ego.
Goddamn schlubby guy. Come on.
Darn it, schlubby.
Schlubby guy.
Dang it, schlubby.
Reminds me of the Joey guy from Jurassic Park.
I should mention there was a detail I realized today that was really awesome, and I'm loving this. This is a big get for me this season.
Okay.
One of my favorite actors is going to appear on this season. Well, an actor when I see him and things I like. I love that guy.
Oh, tell me.
Ed Begley Jr. He's going to be again.
Nice.
You know what's so funny about that? It's like season 1, I get Michael McKean, and then here I get Ed Begley Jr. Two old school TV actors who are really awesome.
The cards are on the table for you, BlueDragonFive, and you got Deadpool. Like things are coming up roses for you.
So we got Ed Begley Jr. as a character called Clifford Maine.
Oh, okay. And we always need at least one kind of central new character to a season, so this might be it.
And apparently he plays guitar.
Nice. I like him already.
So, boys, I'm loving it. I love Ed Begley Jr. I can't wait to see him this season. I just found that out today. It was old news, so I just found it out today. I was like, so happy by it. Yes, Ed Begley Jr., yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's do our speculation here. What do you got?
Rapid fire, because I think this is going on a little too long, but...
Well, I think we agree upon that we're going to open with another glimpse of Gene this season.
I would certainly hope so, yeah.
I think there's a very good chance of Cranston directing because he was rumored to direct an episode in the first season, and there's a lot of cameos for Breaking Bad that are going to be this season. A lot of references and cameos.
Okay, do we think Aaron Paul's going to be in there somewhere?
That's the thing. I think it's either going to be Walter White or Jesse Pinkman. It's going to have a cameo.
I think this season it's going to be Aaron Paul. Season 3 it's going to be Gus Fring, and season 4 it's going to be Walter White.
Well, regardless of whatever they do, no one around the Walter White suggestion you threw out definitely sounds very likely. But I'm wondering if Cranston does direct, what would stop him from kind of just doing like a quick walk-on cameo?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I think Cranston's going to direct this season, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, he may not because he's doing stuff.
I mean, he's a busy guy, so you never know.
Yes, but I love Cranston's directing style too. I think he's really good, kind of personable.
He's great. He's an underrated director, I think.
He is. I wonder how he would do with like directing a feature film, to be honest with you. But that's
I'd like to give it a try.
That's a topic for another time. Back to this. So again, I think as the season, Jimmy's going to be on the cusp of becoming Saul, and then becoming less ethical and more fun as things go on. That's going to be kind of exemplified through how fun things are, just kind of indulging in the dark side, so to speak. I
can see that.
With that, let me kind of rapid fire my whole. I kind of like a whole interconnected spec thing. I'm just going to rapid fire.
Oh God, really quick.
This basically takes care of all my speculation in one shot, essentially. So it's,
okay.
Again, if Jimmy is kind of on the cusp of becoming Saul, with he's becoming less ethical by having more fun, as we see in the promos of him like in the lounge chairs, like that's him becoming less ethical. That's going to lead to the seduction of Kim Wexler to his side, essentially, which of course could be the development of their relationship, but also getting her on his side. Like leaving HHM to kind of join his kind of his prototype Better Call Saul,
which I think would be an achievement for the time, but I think would ultimately kind of turn to tragedy. Is it would be Jimmy kind of like taking her away from the best career opportunity.
I know. Well, let me get to it. So then he'll eventually realize this is where that tragedy comes in. He will realize that he's made a mistake, that he's put her. Yeah, now pretty much said it all. No, he put her professional career in jeopardy, which makes him think Chuck was right in the end, which is kind of the paranoid thing eating away at him as he's realizing, Chuck was right, but I've ruined her career because I took an easier way.
Oh yeah.
And it's like Jimmy's ethical side, like he's still a human guy, he still cares for her a great deal, and he just did this in the spirit of helping her, but at the same time he's kind of ruined her career because again she still has like all those she owes money to the HHM because they put her through law school essentially.
Right.
So I mean, she still owes a great deal to him. That was yet another reason she didn't leave, and that was like the way the actress put it on the commentary. And so she said, how can Jimmy ask me that sort of thing? I was like asking too much because he knows for a fact I would be in a bad spot if I left that company. But
and that's kind of like been one of the big things with Kim is kind of her balance of personal life and then her relationship with Jimmy and her career.
Yeah, and I think the Goodman side of that's going to be in development this season will lead Jimmy to less ethical cases and loopholes. Basically, him kind of I think it's going to be him kind of exemplifying what Chuck's been saying about him, and I think it's going to be kind of a big kind of thematic thing this season. It's going to be him taking those loopholes and everything that Saul Goodman takes in Breaking Bad.
So you're saying we're going to see a lot more slip in Jimmy?
I'm saying in a weird way. I think Jimmy is going to become kind of a villain we root for. It kind of like Walter White was.
I could see that.
I'm saying it's going to be him like making decisions that he's still a lovable guy and we still like him, and he's still getting the job done, but he's doing it through like he's kind of becoming more cutthroat with the not in terms of like the personality, but cutthroat in terms of like he's looking through loopholes which are making Kim uncomfortable, like his methods. Sure. And I think by the end with that going on and kind of the whole HHM thing going on, I think Kim by the end of the season will be heartbroken. I think it's gonna be. Okay. I think it's gonna end on a down note with their relationship. If they're not married, then it's definitely gonna be like a real sour point in the relationship.
I definitely think the season is going to be darker than the original season. I think we're going to get into some real pathos after the Chuck reveal.
I suspect the end of the season is going to be very dark. I suspect that.
It's definitely not going to be as uplifting as the whole smoke on the water thing. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah. Again, I think in terms of Chuck says, I think we're going to build to Chuck. I think we're going to build to Chuck and Jimmy meeting again. Not them reconciling. I'm saying them meeting again. I can see
that. I could see kind of separate storylines for them and then kind of like a build to their reunion.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, again, not them patching things up, just them kind of meeting again. And I think it's going to be ultimately like Chuck like offering him advice. Again, Jimmy like thinking Chuck's right. I think the midpoint of solution, or like towards episode 8, when he's just like at a low point, where Chuck's just going to swoop in unexpectedly for like kind of giving him not reconciliation, but giving him words of advice that saying would help him out. And in the end, character-wise, Chuck would start to believe in Jimmy. Like he's starting to get to that place where he's kind of realizing, man, Jimmy's actually accomplished a lot of things, and I don't believe in him 100%. But I mean, I've underestimated Jimmy.
Sure, sure.
Okay, in terms of Mike, I think Mike and Price are gonna, just given that promo, they're going to get into a conflict with Nacho. We know something bad's going to happen because Price isn't going to listen to Mike, and he's getting too overly flamboyant with the trucks and everything. He thinks he's season 5 Heisenberg. Well, obviously he's not.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Nacho dies this season at Mike's hands.
You know, no, remember, Nacho's still around in Breaking Bad. Well, it's implied that he's around Breaking Bad. Remember Ignacio? He's speaking to Jimmy. He's speaking to Ignacio.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
I'm saying, with that said, I always kind of speculate that Nacho's around. He's going to approach Gene one of these days. Which, speaking of which, let me continue. I'm almost done. So again, I think Mike and Price are going to get into some trouble, which is going to put Mike in a tough spot with him in the veterinarian and his freelancing job, because he's going to have to clean up Price's mess. Price is going to get into some mess alone with Nacho, which is going to make Nacho intensify on Price, strong-arming him, which will involve Mike's involvement. So it's going to involve Mike into this conflict with Nacho, because Nacho, if you notice, and Michael Manda pointed this out in the calendar, he finds Mike very interesting. That's where his character's at. He's really interested.
Here's the thing with Nacho, though. How is Nacho going to tie back into Saul? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I can't have everything figured out, but I think Saul's going to screw him over on some sort of thing in the future. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but eventually he's going to screw him over on something, which is why Jimmy's looking over his shoulder, and he thinks Ignacio's finally going to kill him in Breaking Bad.
It was Ignacio!
Yeah, the point is he's either worked with him and then he screwed someone over or something like that. Ignacio's still around. Actually, that said, there's a chance he could die. There's a potential chance he could. I shouldn't take that off the table.
Yeah.
Depends how far we get this season with Jimmy and Nacho. I'm thinking it's going to be mostly Nacho and Mike this season.
We don't know. I mean, we don't know if it's going to be like a flash forward halfway through to Breaking Bad timeline. I mean, that's the thing, is that this season is like just unmarked potential.
But what I think is going to happen, I think it'd be really interesting, this is going to tie Mike and Jimmy back in together, would be that if it's a Mike-Nacho conflict, but then eventually somehow this ties – Jimmy gets engulfed in this conflict too, of like Mike needs Jimmy's help, and then he's now targeted by Nacho, and towards the end of the season, like just the instant, when you picture this, Tiki, end of the season is just Chuck lets Jimmy in a little bit. He gives him a little bit of credit, like, I underestimated you, Jimmy, not the full way, not the full reconciliation, but after that's had, like the next episode or on that very same episode perhaps, then Nacho kills Chuck because he's hated. He's going after Jimmy now.
I mean, yeah, that definitely had a lot more dimension to it.
Yeah, and then it's unfulfilled kind of this conflict between the McGill brothers. So I'm thinking the season's going to end with kind of what we've been speculating since the first episode, that it's going to end with Gene just surprised one day, like a knock is going to come on the door and it's going to be Nacho.
I've always thought that Jesse is going to be the one to contact Gene, but we'll see.
I think that's going to be the end of the season. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like linking up with the Gene thing. It's going to be Nacho knocking at the door. I think that might be an ending for this season.
Okay.
What's some spec you got? Because I got some minor stylistic stuff afterwards.
I'm pretty much just ready. I mean, honestly, I've been really busy this week, so I haven't had really a lot of time to think things through. So
I'd like to see him secure the strip mall location for the Better Call Saul operations.
Of course, the laser tag. I want to see something play out with the laser tag.
You're absolutely right. We have to see that laser tag set up. I want the laser tag. Oh, again, if he's making Solomon-like decisions, it would be like he's securing extra businesses, but not thinking through like what he owns.
Sure.
It'd be the laser tag. Like, how the heck am I gonna be able to work this? But again, I think I want to see him like secure the strip mall location, work out of that, but it's like kind of the business starting to be formed, And again, maybe indulge in more colorful shirts like we see with the different colored polo shirts in all the promos.
One of the promos that we saw was Saul putting up a Jimmy McGill attorney at law sign on a paper, just like a paper notebook paper. and then taking it down. So I'm wondering if that's kind of signifying like Saul's kind of like, no, I have to go into like exile before I can come out stronger. I don't know.
Maybe.
Just something to think about.
Yeah, here's just two stylistic things I'd like to see. Well, one stylistic thing, one just character thing. I'd love to see an homage to Perry Mason. Mainly the opening. I love if they just had like a sequence of Jimmy like cleaning up as a lawyer and they play the Perry Mason theme. Da-da, 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 da-da. I would.
Okay, I could see that. I
was saying we got Matlock last season. I was saying give us a little bit of Perry Mason.
Matlock was on fire last season.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the other famous lawyer. I mean, I don't think it's that too far a reach to think they'd do that. Do you think, Diggy?
No, I think they would. I think you're right on the money.
I mean, plus the Perry Mason theme. Have you ever heard the Perry Mason theme? It's like the most awesome theme.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's the best part of Blues Brothers 2000. That was a bad movie. It's the only good part of that movie.
The only good part, yes. Don't say best part of any of that movie.
Again, it's the only good. That and John Goodman are the only good parts of that movie.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Character-wise, let me mention the Kelman cameo real quick. Here's another
really quick.
Kelman cameo could be just Jimmy's like visiting a client in prison or something, and then you see maybe if it's at either he's at his lowest point or he's just like casually kind of going by, and then the Kelmans he has a little chat with them.
Yeah, you brought that up. I could see that.
It could be fun. Also, more Skater twins. That's pretty much all I got with Spec. Okay. But again, Perry Mason scene. I want that Perry Mason sequence.
All right. Well, I think I pretty much run the gambit. I apologize, BlueDragonFive. I wasn't like really that. I wish I had more to say. I wish I had more to speculate on. I've just been very busy, and my day was very full today. So, but yeah, I am very excited for Better Call Saul season 2, and I hope that kind of lives up to the promise of like the whole past, present, future thing. I guess any last words that you want to kind of end on?
Need a will. Call McGill.
Fair enough. See you next season, folks. It's a pimento. The type of cheese. It's a sandwich. Don't touch my fucking sandwich. It's a pimento.